Welcome to Money Conversations with KJ. KJ is a lifelong entrepreneur who's made a lot of money, lost a lot of money, and found his way back again. If you're looking for a sterile how-to, you're in the wrong place. KJ and his guests will walk you through real-life situations told by the people who live them, and they are as messy as they are inspiring. Each episode will offer lessons learned, advice on how to replicate successes and avoid pitfalls, and a new perspective to power your financial literacy. Far from a one-size-fits-all, this podcast can help you build a roadmap to your personal promised land. Milk and honey for some, whiskey and steak for others, and remind you that you're not alone on this journey.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, KJ, and today I have a guest. It's a good friend of mine. We live in separate cities, but we keep in contact. Mr. Bruce Dinger. Bruce, welcome to the program.
Thanks. Good to be here, Kevin.
Awesome. Really appreciate you coming out and sharing. I think we're really going to give some good value and share some really cool things with the audience. Our points of today we're going to talk about, because Bruce is he does a lot. He's an entrepreneur and he does many things, but he's really, I think his expertise is in trading, and we'll talk about that. But first, Bruce, let's talk about, because I want the audience is learning about financial literacy, and I like to talk with stories about how it started for you. How young were you when you started to think about money and using it as a tool and leveraging?
You know, I think it goes back. I grew up in a household that my dad was served in the military for 30 plus years, and then working for civil service for another 30 years. So in a combination of about 60 years. And I saw them, I was raised with really, go out there and work hard, and that's how you're going to be successful. My dad always told me, he says, the way to be successful in life is get familiar with the two letters of the alphabet, O and T. You know what that stands for, Kevin?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, overtime, baby.
Overtime. I like it. I like it.
The whole thing is, I looked at it and I thought, gosh, it never felt right for me just always trade in my hours for money. I thought there's got to be a better way, and I knew there was, because I've always been a big reader, and I've read about other successful people that were most of them were investors, or they started their own business. They were entrepreneurs. No, but the thing about my dad and my mom, they taught me a really, really strong work ethic. So that I have to be thankful for, but just a different mindset in terms of how you value the day, your time, and whatnot. So I do think, early on, I said, I'm going to make a shift. And it probably took me, I'm going to say, all throughout my 20s, as I spent time, working for the post office, kind of following my dad's footsteps. And then from there, working for the fire department. And then after that, going ahead, and I was a police officer here in California. So, all my 20s was spent doing the grind, like a lot of people. And it was just, for me, for some people, it's okay. For me, it just never felt right. And I knew I had to do something different.
That's a great story there, because as I'm interviewing people, I'm finding a common thread of parents that are out there, and we really are replicating our parents, right? And sometimes that's a great thing, and sometimes it's not a great thing, right? And you had mentioned that you watched your dad, right? And he taught you about working hard and trading time for money. You and I have had this conversation many times, right? We both know trading time for money is never really going to make you wealthy. You could probably make a decent living at it or whatnot, but ultimately, bringing value to whatever marketplace you're in and leveraging somebody else's time can definitely make you a lot more money. So great to know that your parents did a great job, because out there, I say on almost every show now that parents can't teach what parents don't know, right? And if that's your main source of financial literacy, for some people, that's why they're probably behind the eight ball. Well, that's awesome. So you worked in those great fields, firefighter, policeman, and that kind of stuff. All great careers. And I know people personally that are at my age now, they're finishing their careers. They did their 30 years and they're getting their pensions, this, that, and the other. That wasn't your path, right?
I have a lot of friends that from the police academy that, going way back, were now they're retired police chiefs. So in several different cities here in the Bay Area, but it wasn't my path, and you said something interesting about your own environment. So, I have 3 young children, and I have a 10-year-old, a 4-year-old, and how old is he? 22 months. He's almost 2 years old. But I've gotten them involved. They've never seen me leave the home, to go to work. I'll bring them to the office with me. They see me doing things differently than, most parents. They see me invest in. My kids have been involved in doing rehabs on the real estate side. They see me with the stock market, making investments there. Their mindset is very, very different. And you know me, Kev, I'm a different bird altogether. I mean, I have my after this, I got to rush home and take my two younger ones, my 22-month-old and my 4-year-old, to jujitsu class. So I got them started in. It's just my mindset. I don't believe in limitations. I'm not saying for someone who's listening that working for somebody else is wrong. It's just not for me. I'm setting my kids up to really achieve whatever they want to achieve in life. My oldest daughter's always asking me, Daddy, is that possible? I said, baby, anything is possible if you're willing to put the time in and willing to put the energy in. It's my core belief. It really is.
No, your kids are going to be very fortunate that they won't even realize, probably till they're our age or something, that, you know what? I was just raised this way. I think and act with time and money because that's what my dad did, right? And it won't even be different for them. It's going to be the normal, right? Where other people, other kids, and then when I say kids, I start talking about the 18 to 25-year-olds that when they didn't have a father like you that was able to take real interest and showing them things at a really young age. I had this conversation the other day. Yeah, I firmly believe that you should start financial literacy education with your kids when they're 5 years old. Would you agree?
I would totally agree. I mean, I had my oldest daughter, she started reading books on taking, one book I have is taking $100 and making $1 million out of it. It was actually written for kids. Now, there's certain things in there that I don't agree with. They talk about saving and putting your money in a bank. And I've gone through the book with her and I'll say, Kathy, I said, this is something that Daddy doesn't agree with. The only reason you ever want to save money is to invest money. You don't want to just save for the sake of saving. And she asked me, she goes, well, Daddy, if you don't put your money in a bank, where do you keep it? I said, in brokerage firms or invested in properties or whatnot, but I'm not keeping my money in the bank. I'm just not going to do that. So I had her early on reading through this book and several other books that are about money. And I had her go ahead and write her own thoughts about each chapter, what was the main topic and whatnot. And then to really assimilate it, I started having her doing videos and recording those. And some of them I posted on social media, but a lot of them I've kept private. But it was really for her to internalize this so she could really understand what she was reading and what it really means. And it's incredible how quickly all my kids have just advanced by putting them in that type of environment.
That's really awesome. It got me thinking that I like to teach financial literacy on what I like to call 5th grade level, because I've researched a lot of financial literacy programs that are out there, and I get going through them and I understand the jargon, but I also understand that a lot of people out there, it just goes right over the head. They don't get it. So the fact that they have books for like 5-year-olds, right? If you're 18 or 25 and you don't have a clue and it starts sounding like a foreign language when you're trying to learn financial literacy, I would not be embarrassed to go pick up a book that's designed for a 5 or an 8-year-old. Would you agree?
Right. Absolutely.
I
think a lot of the things, kids watch what we as parents, what we do. And, like I said, my kids have seen me go out to, Baltimore, Howard County, Baltimore, Maryland, and purchase in homes. And in the beginning, my oldest daughter, she was like, so Daddy, are we going to live here? I said, no, we're making an investment. We're going to fix this up. We're buying that at a lower price and we're going to turn around and sell it on the market. And, she started asking, well, how do you know this is the right area to buy in? So all those things, I started just organically just teaching her, what I look for as an investor, whether she knows it or not. She's been training as an investor, both in the real estate and the stock market for over 5 years now.
And that's cool because it's subliminal, right? You live in one city and you went and invested literally the other side of the country. And so for her, as she gets older, it's the norm. Like, she might talk to one of her friends. Yeah, my dad does that too. He's got 2 here and they're like in whatever city. And your daughter will be like, yeah, no, my dad's bought them in Baltimore. He's bought them here in California. He's like bought them all over. And for a lot of people, that will seem like, what? Like, that's crazy kind of thing. But you and I both know we got to go where the markets are, where we're going to get our best returns. It really doesn't matter the city that we do it in, because we're going to, as long as the numbers make sense, and we're always going to find the contractors to do the work and all that kind of stuff. So really super awesome. I think that's a great takeaway for some people that are out there. Maybe they got some young kids and they might be thinking right now, oh, my kids are too early. I'll wait until they're 10 or 12 before I start talking to them about that. I think that would be a big mistake.
I do too. You know, I met a guy just yesterday, actually, taking my kids to the park, and he had his 2-year-old there. And we started talking, and he works at Genentech, and he says he has gotten into flipping homes. I said, oh, I said, it's what I do. I'm a hedge fund manager for the stock market and for also real estate. And he goes, really? And we just started talking, and you know, he asked me some advice, and I told him, I said, it's the best. Investing is, to me, it's the best career. I said, it gives you the opportunity to make as much money as you possibly can, depending on your skill set and what your focus is. And I said, you also get back your time. You really do. I mean, my kids, again, going back to my oldest daughter, because she's the one in school, you know, some of her teachers have asked her in the past, they're really trying to figure out, am I married and am I a single father? I said, yeah, Dad, they were asking me, how come it's always you that's going to the school events and the functions and whatnot? I've just kind of designed my life, and investing has allowed me to do that. So I feel very, very blessed. I really do. So anyone that is even thinking about learning about investing, I would say, why wait? Do it.
So we touched briefly on, you do real estate. We both do real estate investing. And we know it's been a craze around the country for the last 10 years, mainly because of HGTV and the shows that come on, and, you know, they make it look so glorious. And listen, we've all made properties look the way they do on TV. And then we've done properties. No, they don't need to look like they do them on TV, right? It's all about how the particular property numbers work out. Because at the end of the day, we just want to make money on it, you know, that kind of thing. But I want to switch gears here, because I know you're heavily into the stock market and trading, and the fact that you do both, right? Because at the end of the day, like you said a minute ago, it's about investing, right? If you guys want to grow wealth out there, you need to learn how to invest, and you got to learn which path you want to go down. And you're one of the very few people out there that I know, but I know there's many more people out there that are actually going down both paths, right? You're doing real estate and you're very versatile in the stock market arena. Talk to people about, if they were thinking, because that's a whole other jargon, like, you know, how does that work? How do I get started? What would you recommend?
So your audience may think I'm a nut, and maybe I am. So my kids in their room, they don't have like the Disney characters posted on the walls. They have actual chart patterns. So there's in my world of the markets, there's different patterns, price patterns that gives you not a guarantee, but a high probability of what direction the stock is going to go. So I'll have things like a cup and handle, a double bottom. These are just names of different price patterns. If you talk to another professional trader, they'll be very familiar with these things. A head and shoulders, and I have those things in my kids' rooms. They point to it. My 2-year-old, well, he's 22 months. He speaks some words, but he points at these charts here. I've taught him about bulls going up and bears going down. So they get it at a very, very early age. So I think it really is though, like learning a foreign language, you know, and when you look at a chart and you're trying to take a look and say, what direction does this particular stock have a probability of going, up or down or sideways? You have to really understand, you have to look at a lot of charts. You have to be able to understand those patterns. You have to study them. You have to keep track of them. It's just like anything else. You have to get immersed in it. It's like, you know, I speak Chinese fluently. And I learned that language not being here in the United States. I went to the university in Taiwan and got my degree over there. But I lived there and was immersed in the language. And that's the same thing with anything. The same thing with the stock market. You have to immerse yourself in that business. And I think the quickest way, people are always saying that, well, how do you find a shortcut to success? Copy somebody. Find somebody, a coach, a mentor that's willing to. And there's not many guys out there that will be willing. I know myself. I used to coach. I don't anymore. I have too many things going on. But you have to find a coach that's willing to take a transference of their education experience and give it to you.
So, okay. And again, I know vaguely. My extent of money in the market is through index funds and my Roth and those types of things. So just safety, let the professionals type handle it. But not a lot of people, they can get out there and jump in that game. And if you don't know how to play that game, boy, can you get hurt, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those things you could get lucky and I think it's like coming to Vegas, right? It's funny, the story. It's very common. People that come to Vegas for the very first time, they win. And it's the worst thing that could happen to somebody is to come to Vegas and win some big jackpot. Because then they come back chasing for God knows how long the rest of their lives. Like, I can do it again. I can do it again. I would seem to think playing the stock market on your own could be the same thing if you happen to get lucky.
Yep. I mean, I manage the wealth for a lot of different clients, and they have a lot of them, they enjoy the markets, but they realize they can't do it by themselves. Either they don't have the time, they don't have the knowledge and experience, or a little bit of both. If they're smart enough to realize that, hey, hand it over to the professionals and let them deal with it.
Yeah, because you can definitely, again, like you were saying earlier, that most people's mindset isn't even remotely thinking about my money's not going to be in the bank, right? Because your money could be in the market. It's like being in the bank because you can access it. It may take you a day or two, unlike the bank immediately drive down to the corner and withdraw $X. But you'll always have that kind of money laying around anyway. But the bulk of your money definitely should always be invested, working somewhere, real estate, stock market, those types of things. So that's really good. What kind of an action plan would you have somebody, or would you suggest, let's say somebody out there listening right now is in their mid-20s, they've got a decent job, and they go, I got an extra $10,000 or $20,000, and I want to kind of get started. What kind of an action plan would you say would be good for them?
Yeah, it depends on what path are they taking. If they want to learn investing, whether it's the stock market or whether it's real estate, I would say don't be cheap. Hire somebody, hire a coach. I'm a big believer in that. I mean, I'm also NLP certified, neuro-linguistic programming, because a lot of people think, oh, you want to become a coach and helping to unlock the doors for someone's subconscious mind. No, for me, it was. In my business, in the trading business, and particularly, you have to really be able to be on your A game when the market's opened up. I mean, you and I had the conversation about today, how the market was crazy at the end for, some news that hit the airlines, the wave lines. And your mind has to be right. You have to see things clearly. You have to put your emotions to the side. And that all takes tapping into the right mindset. So I hired a coach to help me unlock that subconscious mind. And just the same thing with anything I've done in life is hiring someone that you respect, that you know is going to help you to become a better investor or whatever it is that you're going after. To me, that makes the best sense. That's the first starting point I would do.
So,
seek professional help.
No, right. Well, what sounds great, and you and I both done this, invest in yourself, right? There's just, before you go throw your money into places as a 100% novice in any spectrum, invest in yourself, in a mentor, a coach, some sort of program that you could start to learn at least the baby steps of whatever it is you're getting into. And we're all different learning curves of people out here, right? Some people can just snap that up real quick, and other people may need, a little hand holding a lot longer. That's great advice, because you and I both invested in ourselves and the different things that we do. And in today's world with technology, compared to the days you and I grew up, I mean, it's all at their fingertips.
It is. I mean, I'm just, it really goes back to, what your core belief is. I believe that having a coach collapses time frames. I mean, it's take a look at, I could easily go ahead. I've studied martial arts for years now. I could easily go ahead and spend time teaching my kids, and I do. I practice with them and whatnot, but that's not where I see them growing. I go ahead and I've sought out some of the best coaches, like the one that they also take Taekwondo. It's with the guy he won the gold medal from the Olympics in Taekwondo, and Herb Perez. So Grandmaster Herb Perez, he's their coach. It's the same thing with jiu-jitsu. They got a solid jiu-jitsu coach, but it's being able to take a look and say, let me get somebody who is a professional, depending on what path you want to take, and hire them. That's going to be the first step I would take.
Yeah. I mean, you just said a phrase, which it went so fast that I want to make sure people understand this, which is when you invest yourself, all you're doing, forget the amount of the money that you're investing, is you're collapsing time. And that's our most valuable resource, right? There was nothing more. And it's funny how we don't realize how important time is until you hit 50. And you're like,
Right.
oh, holy crap, where did that go, right? Because in your 20s, you're like, I got plenty of time. Yeah, I can learn that. I got plenty of time. But get in there, collapse time, invest in yourself on whatever type of mentor, coach, or program of an arena that you want to be in, and you will, I don't know, better lack of words, turbocharge your education and start profiting from that at a much rapid pace.
So very, very true. I mean, going back to even like a real life personal experience again, for me was learning Chinese. I was 27 years old when I started learning that language. And I could have got whatever the tapes or what's that one program they have that's all on the videos and stuff. I can't even remember what it's called now. You know what I'm talking about, Kevin?
I do, and I'm trying to remember, and I can't remember either.
Program. I can't remember the name of it, but I could have done that. But that's not what I did. I went ahead and I went over there to the country, and anyone that wanted to speak English with me, I said, nope, not going to practice English with me. I surrounded myself. I created my own environment where they were all speaking Chinese, and it's paid off for me. I mean, I had a TV show for 2 years on the stock market, Hot Stock Income with Bruce Dinger, and it was all in Chinese on the largest Chinese network. So it goes back to what you want to do in life, and then you go after it.
And you go after it.
Yeah.
So true. But, as we review today's conversation, it really does start at home and at the earliest possible age. I mean, you've really started your kids obviously really early. And I know you talked about belief systems, and there are parents out there that believe that I shouldn't talk about money to my kids until they're 18 or something, right? And you and I are in the belief system like you just hurt your child. You don't even know. Because by 18, if you haven't taught them anything about money and responsibility with money, most likely they've developed bad habits.
Right.
And bad habits are a lot harder to overcome than not having any habits yet at all.
Very, very true.
So
I don't think there is a too early. I've had other parents tell me, different things about, even when my daughter was going out to different cities and whatnot, I'd take her to Nashville. We have property there in Nashville and Houston, in Baltimore, and they would say, gosh, is she able to learn though? Is she able to grasp that? And they've also said that about even when she started martial arts. They said, oh, aren't your kids too young to be doing that? And I mean, last year she got her black belt. This year she's testing for her first degree black belt. And I tell her, I said, baby, this is just the beginning. Now you got your black belt. This is just the beginning. I'm just a big believer in one life to live. You have to get the most out of it. And you have to always push yourself to be the better version of yesterday.
Well, I think about, your daughter's in martial arts, and other people are going to be in baseball, soccer, and all these other sports. Sports are, I think, extremely valuable for young children. It teaches them so many things. But your particular, what your daughter's doing, that's a very disciplined sport, right?
Right.
And so the learning lessons that she will take away in her life are invaluable, and she'll never forget them again. It's normal. And if you start something at 18, learning something as important as financial literacy later in life, you're just behind the 8 ball, and you're going to wish that you'd learned it earlier. So again, that's why I enjoy these conversations. We all have a story. We all have a path. Your path has been very interesting to hear, and I think a lot of people out there are going to have a good takeaway and think back, right? What mom and dad teach me or not teach me? And it's no right or wrong. If they didn't know, they didn't know, and they couldn't teach you. I'm not blaming your parents by any means. But as a young adult, I believe it's your responsibility to be proactive. So anybody that is listening to this type of program is being proactive. So I congratulate you listeners out there. Like, hey, I want to learn. I want to hear the stories from just regular people, because you and I are the same. We know people all across this country, and I'm trying to get perspectives from all over. And yours has definitely been a unique one. So I want to thank you for that.
Yeah, no worries. The one thing I would say is this, though. We talk a lot about kids. Even adults, I never believe it's too late to set that foundation. And there's certain reasons I've had my kids do certain things, martial arts being just a component of it. It sets the foundation for everything else. And I'm a big believer, and I know you are too, Kev, is that how you do anything is how you do everything. I'm a big believer in that.
Such a great phrase, such a great phrase, and people hear and it goes in one ear and out the other. But if you look back, that's a great phrase. The 5 people you're surrounded are is the person you become. Be careful who those 5 people are. Don't be afraid to like clean house. I shared that phrase with a friend of mine last year, and he called me 3 months later and he says, "Hey Kev, I cleaned house." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "You told me the 5 people." He goes, three toxic people were in my life, and I told him very politely, I can't associate or talk with you anymore. I'll see you maybe on the holidays. I'll be cordial and hi, but we can't be hanging out no more. So I think it's very important that's a great learning lesson. Along with that, how you do anything is how you do everything, for sure.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
So, well, listen, I appreciate you coming on. It's been great, and I know some people learned some really good stuff out there today. It's powerful. It's strong. Investing is the only way to what Bruce and I are going to consider real wealth. You can make a nice living and support your family with the JOB. That's definitely not your path or my path. We're investors now by nature, and we didn't even get into all the tax advantages of being a professional investor versus a professional JOB, right? W-2 earner. So thank you for that. So again, you guys, if you believe that we gave you value today, right, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, to my podcast channel. And for those of you out there that might be watching on YouTube, smash that like button and also subscribe. Again, we're going to be releasing these podcasts every Wednesday. So come on back and listen to the next one. Bruce, thanks for coming out. It's been awesome, and I really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Kevin.
Okay, guys. You guys have a great week, and we'll be talking soon.
Hey, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Really enjoyed making all these episodes for you. Remember, we're just having conversations with people's journey with money and the things they did right with it, the things that did wrong with it, and how did they really come about getting their mindset with money. So every episode's different. We all have a good takeaway from them. So do me a favor, hit the like button, smash the like button, and subscribe to my channel, because every episode that I do is going to be different, as all our journeys are different. So you guys take care, and we'll talk to you next week.